In the emerald heart of a bamboo forest, where sunlight dripped through the leaves like liquid jade, lived Master Ren. His wisdom, as ancient as the moss-draped stones bordering his meditation path, drew seekers from near and far. Among them came Hero, a young man burdened by a knot of unyielding grief. His eyes, though bright, carried the weight of an invisible cage. "Master Ren," he pleaded, his voice a rustle of leaves, "how can I see what my tears won't reveal? How can I touch the hand that grief has snatched from mine?" Ren gazed at him, his weathered face a canvas of compassion. "Hero," he said, his voice a low hum of the wind chimes nestled among the bamboo. "You seek vision within the confines of 3 dimensions. To grasp the invisible, you must first learn to think in 4. Hero's brow furrowed. 4 dimensions? Master, I barely understand this single world, let alone others unseen." Ren smiled, a wrinkle spreading across his cheek like a sunbeam on old bark. "Think of time, child. It flows, it coils, it folds upon itself, a river carving unseen canyons through the years. This, too, is a dimension woven into the fabric of our reality." He beckoned Hero to follow him down a path dappled with light and shadow. They reached a serene pond, its surface a mirror reflecting the sky's swirling tapestry. "Look into the water," Ren instructed, "not with your eyes, but with your mind. See the ripples, not as disturbances, but as echoes of moments past, ripples yet to come." Hero closed his eyes. At first, only the chirp of crickets and the gurgle of the unseen stream reached him. Then, a slowness began to weave through him, a stretching of time's fabric. He saw the pond not as a frozen image, but as a moving story. Each ripple sang of falling rain, of skittering frogs, of a child's laughter echoing across the ages. When he opened his eyes, they were full of wonder. "I see it, Master. The water remembers everything." Ren nodded. "And so too does your grief, Hero. It ripples not just in your tears, but in the whisper of the wind, the scent of pine needles, the echo of your beloved's laughter. To see the invisible, you must learn to listen to these whispers, to feel the unseen currents of time." The following days, Hero practiced with fervent dedication. He walked the forest paths, feeling the years etched into the bark, the whispers of forgotten conversations dancing in the leaves. He sat by the pond, letting the ripples carry him through memories, weaving a tapestry of grief and love. One morning, as the first rays of dawn kissed the bamboo fronds, Hero awoke with a strange sense of peace. He sat beneath the ancient oak where he had last laughed with his beloved, his absence no longer a gaping wound, but a gentle echo in the symphony of time. He closed his eyes and saw him, not in flesh and bone, but as a vibrant thread woven into the fabric of the present. His love, he realized, wasn't lost, but transformed, flowing like the unseen river of time, nourishing the roots of his being. When he returned to Master Ren, his eyes no longer held the weight of invisible bars. They shimmered with newfound wisdom, reflecting the unseen dimensions of existence. "Thank you, Master," he whispered, his voice a gentle stream. "I have learned to see beyond the cage of tears. I have learned to think in 4 dimensions." Ren smiled, the wrinkles on his face crinkling like sun-dried petals. To see the invisible, Hero, is not about forcing sight, but about expanding your heart. Now go, child, and carry this wisdom with you. Let it be a balm for your wounds and a light on your path. Remember, grief never truly fades, but when woven into the tapestry of time, it becomes a thread of strength, a testament to love ever flowing. Hero bowed his head in gratitude, and then, with a heart lighter than the bamboo leaves dancing in the breeze, turned away. He carried with him not just the echo of Master Ren's words, but a newfound ability to see the invisible threads of love and loss that wove through the fabric of his own story and the stories of all beings past, present, and future. For in learning to think in 4 dimensions, he had learned to see beyond the veil of illusion, to touch the hand of the unseen, and to find solace in the ever-flowing river of time. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months as Hero practiced weaving the new dimension of time into his being. He learned to read the wrinkles on leaves, not just as scars of wind and rain, but as stories etched by seasons. He felt the weight of centuries in the gnarled roots of ancient trees, witnessed the fleeting dance of moments in the flutter of hummingbird wings. One day, meditating by the pond, Hero saw a new layer to the ripples. Each held not just memories, but possibilities. He glimpsed futures where he chose anger, clinging to the pain, and others where he embraced acceptance, letting love flow through him. The burden of grief remained, but its sharp edges began to soften, replaced by a subtle hum of understanding. As Hero ventured deeper into the forest, he stumbled upon a hidden grove bathed in ethereal light. In its center stood a towering stone monolith, its surface engraved with intricate symbols that danced before his eyes. He felt a pull, a magnetic force drawing him closer. As he touched the stone, a wave of energy washed over him, flooding his mind with visions. He saw glimpses of his past lives, interconnected like beads on a string. He saw himself as a warrior, a scholar, a farmer, each life woven into the tapestry of his soul. He saw the choices he made, the lessons learned, the ripples of karma reaching across lifetimes. The pain of unhealed grief wasn't just his, but an echo carried through generations, a thread interwoven with the joys and sorrows of countless ancestors. The experience overwhelmed him, a kaleidoscope of lives flashing before his eyes. He collapsed on the moss-covered ground, tears streaming down his face. This wasn't just grief anymore. It was a vast ocean of emotions, a tidal wave of inherited pain. Suddenly a soft voice broke through the chaos. Master Ren, his face etched with ancient wisdom, knelt beside him. "The river of time flows deep, Hero," he said gently. "Within its currents lies not just your life, but the story of all beings. To see the invisible, you must face the darkness it carries, embrace the grief that belongs not just to you, but to your lineage." Hero spent days in the grove, guided by Master Ren. He delved into the depths of his ancestral pain, confronting the fear, the anger, the unutterable loss that lurked beneath the surface. He wept for lives lost, for dreams unrealized, for bonds severed by time. With each tear, a layer of darkness lifted. The grief didn't vanish, but it transformed. It became a wellspring of compassion, a deep understanding of the human condition. He saw the pain he carried not as a burden, but as a shared inheritance, a reminder of the fragility and preciousness of life. Emerging from the grove, Hero was no longer the same man. His eyes, once clouded by grief, now held a quiet strength, a glimmer of newfound wisdom. He returned to the world, not to forget his loss, but to carry it with grace. He spoke of his journey, of the invisible dimensions that wove through our lives, of the interconnectedness of all beings. He found solace in acts of kindness, in the ripple of joy he could create in the lives of others. He tended to the sick, helped the lost, offered a listening ear to those burdened by their own invisible grief. With each act, he felt the threads of love weaving, mending the tears in the tapestry of existence. One day, a young woman named Ayame sought his counsel. Her eyes, like faded embers, mirrored the grief he once knew. He saw in her the echoes of his own journey, the weight of an unhealed wound. He shared his story, not to impose, but to offer a glimmer of hope, a spark in the darkness. As Ayame listened, tears welled in her eyes. She saw her own grief reflected in his words, yet not as a prison, but as a thread to be woven into the fabric of her life. Slowly, she began to open up, sharing the story of her loss, the emptiness that gnawed at her soul. Hiro didn't offer empty platitudes. He simply listened, holding space for her pain, allowing her tears to flow like cleansing rain. In her vulnerability, he saw a flicker of strength, a seed of resilience waiting to bloom. He guided her, not with words, but with presence. He led her to the hidden grove, to the monolith that held the echoes of time. In its presence, Ayame felt a shift within her. She saw glimpses of her past lives, the threads of love and joy interwoven with the pain. She realized that grief, though heavy, was a part of her story, a testament to the love she had known. Emerging from the grove, Ayame's eyes held a newfound spark. Grief remained, a teardrop etched on the glass of her being, but its sharpness had dulled. She saw its reflection in the sun-dappled leaves, in the ripple of the pond, in the laughter of children playing nearby. It was a part of her, yes, but not her whole story. Hiro smiled, a warmth radiating from his weathered face. "See, Ayame," he said, his voice a gentle breeze through the bamboo. "The invisible is not something to fear or erase. It is a brushstroke on the canvas of your life, adding depth and texture to your existence." Ayame took a deep breath, the scent of pine washing over her. "But how do I carry this weight without being crushed by it?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. Hiro leaned against the ancient oak, its gnarled limbs reaching towards the sun. "There's a story," he began, "of a bird that carried a stone in its beak. Day after day it flew, the stone a constant burden. One day a wise owl saw the bird struggling and asked, 'Why do you carry this heavy stone?' The bird replied, 'Because it is part of me.' The owl smiled and said, 'But have you ever tried flying without it?'" Ayame pondered the story, feeling its wisdom seep into her bones. Perhaps she hadn't truly tried to fly without the weight of grief. Grief had become her cage, its bars forged from her own tears. Looking into Hiro's eyes, she saw the reflection of her own journey, a map leading beyond the cage. With a newfound resolve, she began to practice. She learned to let go of the grip she had on her sorrow, to allow it to flow through her like the river of time, transforming into a quiet melody of acceptance. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Ayame still felt the pang of grief, but it no longer defined her. She found joy in the simplest things, the warmth of the sun on her skin, the chatter of birdsong, the taste of a ripe blueberry plucked from the forest floor. She found solace in acts of kindness, weaving threads of love into the tapestry of her community. One day, she returned to the hidden grove, drawn by an unseen force. The monolith stood bathed in silver moonlight, its surface shimmering with an inner light. As she touched it, the familiar wave of energy washed over her, but this time it was different. She saw not just her past lives, but the lives of countless others, each a vibrant thread woven into the magnificent tapestry of existence. She saw the ripple effect of her own actions, the joy she sparked, the pain she soothed, all echoing through time. In that moment, Ayame understood. Grief wasn't just a burden to be carried, but a bridge to connect, a lens through which he could see the interconnectedness of all beings. It was a reminder of the precious fragility of life, a catalyst for compassion, a thread woven into the fabric of love. Emerging from the grove, Ayame was no longer the woman who had entered. She was a weaver of time, a healer of hearts, a testament to the transformative power of embracing the invisible. Her eyes, once dimmed by tears, now shone with the wisdom of one who had learned to see beyond the cage, to sing with the river of time, and to find solace in the ever-flowing dance of grief and love. And so, Hiro's journey became theirs, a whispered legacy carried on the wind, a torch passed from hand to hand, a testament to the invisible dimensions that wove through the fabric of their lives, and the lives of all those who learned to see beyond the veil of tears. This story was just a taste of the vast ocean of Zen wisdom. If you're curious to dive deeper, don't forget to subscribe for more Zen musings, guided meditations, and stories that will challenge your perception of reality.